Coming up on Global Perspectives, I will be joined by Olga Chatfield, a parent in AACPS. Welcome to Global Perspectives. I am your host, Karen McDonough, Manager of International Family Outreach Programs. I'm very excited today to have with me our guest, Olga Chatfield, who is a parent in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Hello, Olga. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Good, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I am excited to learn a little bit about Ukraine and about your experience as a parent in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. But I like to learn, obviously, not just because we're in education. So we talked a little bit before, but remind me, how do you say hello in Ukrainian?
Привіт, or добрий день, which is hello, and a good day in Ukraine.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with hello. Привет.
Привіт.
Привет. All right. Well, thank you. So, привет, Olga. Again, thank you for being with us. And I want to learn a little bit about, and our audience, about Ukraine, not just because of what's going on in the world today, but just I think it's important for us to know about the culture of some of the students that are in our system. So tell me a little bit about Ukraine, the country, some of the customs that you think we should know about.
Sure, thank you. I would be happy to share some information about Ukraine.
Okay.
Ukraine is a very beautiful country. It's a big country. Territory of Ukraine is about 230,000 square miles, which is about size of Texas.
Okay, so the whole country of Ukraine is equal to just our state of Texas.
Right.
Okay.
Which is in Europe, it's the biggest country anyway.
Wow. Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's the second biggest country if you count Russia, which
Right.
is Russia is not, it's Eurasia. It's
Okay.
part of in Europe, part of in Asia.
Okay. Right.
Ukraine has a beautiful climate. We have all 4 seasons. A lot of lakes, rivers, tall mountains, gorgeous beaches on a Black Sea and a Sea of Azov.
Okay.
Agriculture is one of the biggest sector of our economy. That's why very often we can hear people calling Ukraine breadbasket of Europe.
Right. I have heard that before.
It's
Okay.
even on our flag, which is blue and yellow. Blue is the sky, and yellow is a field of weeds.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Ukraine is Orthodox, Christian Orthodox country.
Okay.
That's why we have a lot of beautiful churches with golden dome and gorgeous architecture. There is a lot of traditions, like very famous. One of them is pisanki. It's Ukrainian Easter eggs.
Is it the same time of the year as our regular Western Easter?
No,
terms of
we have
calendar?
slightly difference
Okay.
because Ukraine is still using all different calendar
Oh,
for
okay.
Christian holidays.
Okay.
That's why Christmas in Ukraine is January 7th.
Oh, okay.
But I think right now it's going to change because Ukraine trying to do everything different as possible.
Different in terms of
What it
more
used to
modern.
be with Russia.
Oh, okay. All right. So changing to have their more unique customs and,
Right.
and traditions.
Right. It's not because trying to be unique. We have own culture and
Right.
own traditions, but we've been part of Soviet Union for 72 years.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff we did same way.
Okay. All right. And I get that, and we'll have a chance to talk a little bit more about that. We were talking earlier about the climate and how different it was when you came to America, adjusting to the climate. Is the majority of in terms of big cities, is there the majority of the population is in just a few urban areas, or is it a lot of rural towns that are not as much of a big cities? How many? Is there lots of big cities? Or?
Yes, it is a lot of big cities.
Okay.
Capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. It's one of the oldest cities. It's 1,540 years old.
Wow.
So there is every little street, every little corner have a lot of history.
Right.
Also, it is a very big city. Officially, there lives over 3 million people.
Okay.
Yeah, now, of course, there is a lot of small towns and bigger towns and villages. But Ukraine is equally, how's right to say it? Like people live equally everywhere. It's not like some areas are absolutely empty.
Oh, okay. And then I'm guessing, obviously, because of the large amount of agriculture, then that's obviously more spread out in the country and things like that. I was admiring your blouse earlier. I know you said that was traditional Ukrainian blouse. So in terms of the arts and crafts in Ukraine, is there a lot of like weaving and textiles?
Embroidery.
Embroidery, okay.
Embroidery.
And then you mentioned the eggs.
Which is like that. It's called vyshivanka, Ukrainian national traditional clothes.
Okay. With the flowers, the flower pattern?
It's not just flowers. It could be all kind of different designs.
Okay.
And of course, it is different region has own designs. So
okay.
If some people can read them, so on different clothes you can actually read from where it is and what is said.
Okay. Because obviously different regions have their different designs. Do people still wear a lot of traditional clothing, or maybe like you are today with just a blouse or something that's a little bit of part of traditional clothing, or?
Yeah. Yes, it is part of traditional clothing, and we have also Vyshivanka Day. So it's that day of our traditional clothes, so everyone wearing it. And of course, right now, after full Russia invade Ukraine, people become even more patriotic and wearing this clothes on a regular basis.
Okay, all right, I like that. In terms of language, and what you were explaining about the influence of Russia and invasion and the language, in school, is it typically Russian is taught, or everybody just automatically speaks Ukrainian and Russian? How is the language typically for most people in Ukraine? What language do they speak, I guess?
They understand and speak both language, Ukrainian and Russian, because we've been part of Soviet Union for 72 years. It's long time,
right,
where main language was Russian and people studied at school till 1990s. But now, as far from Russian border you go, as less Russian language you would hear. West of Ukraine, people speak mostly Ukrainian. And east of Ukraine, which is like on the border with Russia, people speak Russian language. I would say people did speak Russian language. Right now, it's changing a lot. People doesn't want to speak Russian language anymore.
Got it. And in terms of in school, is English taught in school as well? Or?
Yes, from a first grade. It's a first foreign language. Kids study at first grade.
In first grade, wow.
And in the fifth grade, kids can choose another foreign language.
Tell me a little bit about what brought your family to America.
My husband, American.
Okay.
We met, got married, and had our son in Europe. Lived in Europe for a while, and then his job brought us here.
And you've been in, when you came to America, you've always lived in this area, in Anne Arundel County Public Schools?
We came to this area 4 years ago, right from Europe.
Very good. And I'm guessing you still have a large part of your family in Ukraine?
Yes.
Right. All right, very good. Before we talk about, obviously current events and what's going on with the war, with the educational system in Ukraine, you went to school, I guess, as a young girl, did you finish all of your schooling in Ukraine?
Yes,
Okay.
I studied in Kiev, and then I got my master's degree in the University of Kiev.
Okay. And now with the growing number of preschool programs in our system at 4 years old, when do kids start going to school in Ukraine?
Public preschool starts at age 2,
Okay.
and school starts at 6. But
Oh.
also we have option of public nursery schools,
Oh,
which is 18 months old.
wow.
Very comfortable for moms who works.
I was going to say it makes it a
Yeah.
lot easier for parents. And the children that start when they're 2 years old, do they go all day? Is it half a day? Or
It's both, but
okay.
mostly they go for all day.
All day. Wow. Okay, at that young age, which I think is very different than for our system. So there's preschool from 2 until 6. Is that what you said? So at 6 years old, then they start elementary school.
Right.
Okay. And is that at 6? Is that considered kindergarten or first grade?
First grade.
First grade. Okay. And some of the things that I think are interesting for our audience to know. In Ukraine, here we go to school depending on where you live, right? You live in a certain area and that's the school that you go to. Is that the same in Ukraine, or can you just
You can
whatever
choose.
you can choose?
You can choose school, but
Okay.
people choose usually what is more convenient,
Okay. So
like
close
mostly
to their
like
homes.
walking distance.
Okay.
Like the
And
place where I lived, was 3 schools around where I could walk in 5-10 minutes.
Oh, okay. And that, so obviously, usually I'm guessing no transportation. There's no school bus, or there's no need for
No need for that, especially in the big cities.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the small villages where like they're combining several villages and one schools, and of course they're organizing some transportation, but in the cities there is no need for it.
And so in the rural areas where you said maybe 2 or 3 villages, they share one school, do the parents have to do the transportation, or the schools provide transportation?
It is also depend.
Oh, it depends on that. Okay. And how are the schools divided? For us, obviously, kindergarten to 5th grade is elementary, 6, 7, 8 is middle school, and 9, 10, 11, 12. So how is it in Ukraine?
It's all grades in it's a one school building. It's one building school.
Oh.
So all grades goes in one school.
Okay.
Just different grades held classes on different floors,
Okay.
and it's about similar, but we're not dividing it like
Okay.
that, like elementary, middle,
Oh.
and
so you
high
just
school.
go from one grade to the next,
next,
to the end.
yes.
And is the last grade like we have 12 years?
It's 11 right now.
It's 11.
But also they probably gonna change it soon. Maybe even next year we start doing 12.
12 years. Okay, very good. I'm guessing with you have so many grades in one particular school, are the schools tend to be, because you have so many, are they smaller, or do they tend to be big schools? For instance, the majority of our high schools here in Anne Arundel County are around 2,000 students. Would you have a school that's that big, or do they tend to be smaller, do you think?
Yes, it's about that size, but
Okay.
for all grades, it's why we need more schools, and they're more closer to different areas.
To different areas, okay. Does school provide school lunch, or do kids bring their own?
Parents provide
Parent
school
provide
lunch.
lunch, okay.
There is a cafeteria also.
Okay.
Some students get school taking care of their lunches if their family needs, or they have. I mean, right now they lost homes,
Right.
lost parents.
So obviously based on, and we obviously have a similar program like that, based on needs that
Yeah.
we support kids with school breakfast and school lunch. Do kids typically wear uniforms in most schools, or is it you wear whatever you
No,
want?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. All right. Very good. What does a typical day look like for let's just start with elementary school, since you have a little one yourself. Is it do they go by different subjects, or are they all together all the subjects are just with the one teacher? How do they do it?
Yeah, for elementary age, it's one teacher.
Okay.
It's from first grade to fourth grade. It's one teacher
Okay.
for all classes.
Okay.
And classes last 35 minutes for first grade and 40 minutes for second, third, and fourth grade.
Okay.
School start for everyone at 8:30.
Everyone at 8:30.
Everyone in Ukraine, 8:30.
Okay. Very good. And then ends at about what time?
Elementary schools about noon.
Okay, so it is a shorter day.
It is shorter day, but there is no playtime. It's just school.
No recess, no. Okay.
There is a recess for 20 minutes, if I remember it right. 20 or 25 minutes is the longest break.
Okay.
But usually it's about 10 minutes between classes, and it's class after class, and then you go home and play.
Okay. Very good. And what about middle school and high school? What are their days look like?
The longest is about 3 p.m.
Oh, okay. Still starting at 8:30, but they don't end until
Yes.
3 p.m. Okay. All right. And in terms of the grades, how are children given grades? And obviously being part of your, here we have A, B, C, and D. Is that how they're graded, or?
It's from 1 to 12.
1 to 12. Okay.
1, 2, 3, it's initiative level.
Okay.
4 to 6 is average.
Okay.
Then sufficient, and then high level, which is 9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11. Wow. And
Oh, I'm sorry, 10, 11, 12.
10, 11, 12. Okay. And so, and they grade the same whether it's for the little ones or the older kids. They grade them like that, or?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. But I would imagine definitely for the bigger ones. So
yeah, for little ones, they probably using some little stamps like great job or little stars or something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
Yes, but then, yes.
But then the grading. And in, you said you had done your advanced degree in Kiev as well. Do most young people end up going to university, or do they go? Does the school provide a choice where, like, oh, if you want to go to university, you go this way, or if you want to do a technical career, like, I don't know, computers or electrician or do you have a separate track, or everybody pretty much in high school studies the same?
Everybody must start everything.
Okay.
But you can take classes when students decide where he goes. They taking extra classes, which helps them to do test for university.
Okay.
But 80% of about 80% of people in Ukraine have a higher degree.
Okay.
That's why it's much rare people go to work right after school.
Okay. So most young people would end up going to
University or college or or schools for like
a technical.
Technical.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are going to take a short break, and we'll be back soon.
Raise ball! Ref, that's such a bad call. These are terrible refs.
Remember, refs are people too, and they're knowledgeable about the game. You need to respect them. Besides, focusing on the calls takes your mind off the play.
Sportsmanship is important in AACPS.
And make sure to treat all officials with respect.
Welcome back to Global Perspectives. I'm here again with my guest, Olga Chatfield, who is sharing with us about Ukraine and her experiences and her perspective on education and what it's like there. Before the break, well, Olga, one of the things we didn't talk about yet is about parents in schools in Ukraine. Tell me a little bit about what kinds of opportunities parents typically might have in Ukraine to get involved with their children's school.
We have something similar to here, like a class mom.
Okay.
Classes forms in the first grade, and kids stay together till graduation.
Wow.
It provides them more long-term relationship and more stability.
Right. Well, and that's super interesting that that group of children. I'm guessing obviously sometimes kids move away or new kids come in, but for that core of kids to have the same group of friends and that, like you said, the connection and the stability.
Some of my best friends is from young elementary school age.
Wow, that is a really I don't know anywhere else. I mean, I'm sure there's other places in the world where that exists, but that is a great.
It's the same way in Germany, I think.
Is
I
it?
have some German friends, and they told me it's the same way, but
okay.
I'm not sure.
Wow. I was going to say that would be really interesting if our system could accommodate that for kids to stay together even, through years and years. And so the class mom is there to help the teacher, I'm guessing, or volunteer.
No,
a
it's
little
more
bit?
like if there is holidays, like collect some money for present for a teacher or,
so
or to
social,
organize. Yes,
more social things.
social.
And so I'm guessing it's probably not very popular or very common that parents are actually physically volunteering in the school. No,
It's not common.
Okay. All right. So as we had talked at the beginning of our show, obviously, things are vastly different now in Ukraine than they were when you were in school. And obviously you're not physically there, but I know that obviously your family and people that you know are living through the current situation with the war. Are kids still going to school? Are they able to go to school during this time?
Life has changed a lot for everyone in Ukraine, but it's changed different for different regions.
Okay.
Some regions are occupied by Russia right now. Some regions completely destroyed cities and schools.
Right.
Some parents had to take their kids and find a shelter in other countries. So kids studying virtually.
Okay.
Yes, some school working virtually, some school in person, and some both.
Okay.
It's dependent where.
Where they are. Okay.
Like, for example, in Kyiv, schools are open in person if they have shelters or basement, or they're close to metro station, where they can take kids in case of emergency.
Okay. And I'm guessing that would depend also on whether or not, because if they're virtual, they need to have internet, right? And have electricity and be able to connect.
Ukraine has internet.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying if it's not disrupted by the destruction.
Right, which was very difficult in the wintertime when Russia was targeting all power systems by missiles almost every day.
Right. And when you said that some kids have, with their families, obviously have fled to other countries, even though they're not in Ukraine, they're still able to connect to the Ukrainian school system and
correct.
continue their education there. Wow. I mean, that's
Yeah, some
amazing.
in the beginning of full invasion, a lot of kids had their classes in the shelters or metro stations.
Okay.
The teachers try to find a way to provide them to continue classes.
Continue their classes. Okay. And then I'm assuming with whatever devices they're having, whether it's a laptop or
Right.
I don't know, a phone maybe.
Or just sometimes teacher would like get their students together and just sit there on the metro station and do their classes.
And I was going to say, almost teaching the old-fashioned way, right?
Right.
Just your teacher with you without all of the technological things that they would normally have access to.
That's very sad reality nowadays.
I can imagine. I know. I would imagine that, and I don't know why it's just occurring to me now to ask you, during the pandemic, obviously before the war, when the pandemic was on, were kids already learning virtually then? Did the schools close in Ukraine during the heat of the pandemic?
It was sometime
Okay.
closed for some time, like here.
Okay, because I would imagine that's they had already that experience of having to connect virtually, and now this is something obviously because of what's going on, and the schools. Obviously, the school building isn't there, but the teachers are continuing to do what they can for the kids with teaching opportunities. Is there other opportunities for the kids to get together? Maybe is there? I don't know. Are they have access to sporting things or?
It's again depend on where.
Depending on
of course,
where.
it's much more difficult to do that on the east of Ukraine,
Right.
where it's every day some bombs or artillery reaching cities,
Okay.
and Kyiv and capital is a little more safe, or west of Ukraine is even more safe.
Okay.
So people have their normal-ish life.
And adapting in the middle of a situation that I could never imagine what that was like or what that is like. So obviously we feel for those students and those families. Is there any other differences about how you see? Obviously, you have a little one in school,
Right.
kindergarten. Is that right? Yep.
Correct.
Any other differences that you see between the way education or the focus of education in Ukraine to America?
Well, didn't learn much yet, but I think most biggest difference is classes, kids all together from the beginning to the graduation. Then Ukrainians learning at least 2 foreign languages,
Okay.
and everyone studies the
Okay.
same subjects.
Okay. All right. Very good. I want to thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing everything. It just occurred to me another question I had before we sign off. In terms of the kids when they graduate, is there? You said they go directly to university, and do kids typically have the freedom to choose what they want to study, or is there like a lot of people that want to pursue a certain career? Do you know, like for you, what was your path from after high school?
After high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I chose the university, which was more convenient.
Okay.
And
That's
close.
that's very real.
And that university is one of the best in Ukraine, and I pass test.
Oh, so you have to take a test before you even apply to college.
Right.
Okay.
I passed a test to get to college
Okay.
and got a scholarship. So I stayed with that university.
And so then when you're in university, you're able to then pick a different career. It's not like you have to pick your career ahead of time.
Me
Yeah.
specifically, I got my test was good enough for going engineering.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't have enough of points to get to computer engineering, which is I was trying to get, but it
Okay.
wasn't enough for that. I got enough for lighting engineer, and it was scholarship for that.
And
That's
so
why I just stayed with that education.
okay, and I think that's the point that I had missed in before when you and I had we had communicated before that that test that you have to take, depending on your score, what your options are, right? And so I think that's very different than it is here, where kids go to college and then they decide what career they want to follow, as opposed to that system. And I know other European countries are like that, where they have to pass a test.
Well, of course, you can pay, parents can pay, or kids can pay for education and choose wherever they want.
Oh, okay. So if you take the test and you get a certain score,
But
then you
I
get a
wanted
scholarship.
to use my scholarship,
Okay.
and that's what I could make.
Okay. Very good.
Which was great for my parents. They didn't have to pay for education,
I'm
a lot
sure-
of money.
I was going to say, I'm sure all parents would love for their kids to do
Yeah.
to do
And
that, to be
because
able to
I
get
really
scholarships.
didn't know what I actually want, I was like, okay, engineering, fine.
Fine. Go for it. All right, Olga. So before I do say goodbye, getting back, anything else about your beautiful country that you would like us to know?
Ukraine is a country of brave people, of educated people, and people who fighting right now for not just for lives and for homes. They fighting for justice against of terrorism, and I think the world need to know about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. All right. Thank you for joining us on Global Perspectives, and we hope to see you soon.